A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13 powered by Tata Tele Business Services. I'm Ritvika Gupta. Now, India's SMEs are no longer just building businesses. They're building the engine of the country's growth. Tonight, we shift focus to a critical but often overlooked question. Where does revenue actually leak in a growing SME? Giving us a ringside view of how digital infrastructure, cloud, connectivity and AI are reshaping the way India's businesses grow and compete, I'm joined by Vishal Rally, Chief Revenue Officer at Tata Tele Services. Vishal, welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Yeah, Ritvika, same here, and looking forward to our conversation today.
Absolutely. Vishal, so to begin this conversation, as Chief Revenue Officer, you work with and you have also observed SMEs across the country. Tell me, when you look at their day-to-day operations, where do you see revenue slipping away? And perhaps what are the sort of changes that they need to incorporate in their digital setup?
Yeah, see, mostly what SMEs feel that revenue is solely a function of demand generation. But when we look at it, and in my own conversations with hundreds of SMEs, we have thousands of customers and we talk to them very often. And we see that actually demand generation is not something which is really causing, the revenue gaps.
Okay.
It's essentially the response gap. It's how quickly you are able to respond to the demand that is getting generated. As you see, and as the SMEs grow, in fact, it becomes even more difficult. If you are a small shop, if you have few, 50, hundreds of customers, your manual processes can kind of manage, your business. You could throw people and kind of solve for it. But as the business scales and grows, it's very, very difficult for you to have that kind of faster response times. Something that I would like to talk about is the era that we are living in right now. Mm-hmm. It's the era of convenience economy, right? Everybody expects an effortless kind of experience. You want things in an instant. Say OTT channels, you are not really searching for content. They personalize for you, they recommend. And essentially what as consumers, you and me look forward to the brands and the companies that we do business with or interact with, is that how much value they are putting to our time, right?
Sure.
So the time and effort spent is the important aspect here. Domino's, and I'm talking about US and globally as well, mm-hmm. Their stock price had hit in 2010 really low. If I'm not mistaken, it was about $3, right? The lowest ever. And that's when their then CEO actually coined this term to say, we are in the business, or rather we are a technology company who delivers pizza. That really made the shift for the organization to being a tech company first.
Yeah.
So from personalization, allowing you to personalize your pizza, and then a concept called Anywhere Platform. Now, what does Anywhere Platform mean? What Anywhere Platform at that time, and even now it's relevant, meant was that you don't need to visit a digital property of Domino's to order pizza. If you are on Twitter, you could order pizza from Twitter. If you are chatting on, say, a Facebook Messenger or any other messenger for that matter, you could order from there and so on. Mm-hmm. And that made such a dynamic shift for Domino's business. So I think every business has to look at, irrespective of the size, how technology can help them to retain as well as grow revenues. And in terms of how quickly you are responding when there is demand generated for your products and services. Right. I want to give an example for our SMBs and our customers in India as well.
Sure.
See, Domino's had probably all the money, right, in terms of spending on the platform. Now, SMBs in India may not have that kind of capital available for them to build a platform on their own. And what we have done at Tata Tele Business Services essentially is we build a customer interaction platform, right? So it's a shared platform where multi-tenanted, multiple SMB customers can use it, but it brings all customer conversation at one place. So all of these various mediums comes together on our common customer interaction platform, mm-hmm. which we call SmartFlow. And for one of our organizations, which is into consumer services, multiple city and so on, they were struggling, right? Because as and when demand kind of picks up, there will be lost calls, lost leads, and so on. And they didn't have the time, effort, energy, and money to spend and build their platform.
Right.
And what this platform has done is it's helped them in terms of ensuring that no leads, no business, no customer conversations get lost, and it's kind of given a similar kind of an effort like Domino's would do for their customers, what SME customers of ours can do for their end consumers.
Very interesting. But tell me, Vishal, why does customer service and customer experience matter so much when it comes to preserving revenue? And what role can connectivity and cloud communication play in maintaining that experience?
Yeah, I think for revenue, probably customer experience is the main guardrail. When we speak to SME owners, SME business owners, they come back that it's the rigid technology that they have adopted is actually not helping them in terms of giving a consistent level of customer experience for all their customers across the customer touch points. Whereas it should be the other way around, right? The technology should help enhance the customer experience, and technology should actually kind of make your business elastic. I'll explain what do I mean by elastic. In the sense, see, demand varies, right? I mean, there are peak seasons, where, like Diwali, in our context, demand just kind of shoots up.
Yeah.
But you can't really plan for that peak demand, right? But technology can do it wonderfully well. But technology can do for businesses, right? How to make essentially kind of expand and shrink basis the demand, right? So, I mean, again, probably a couple of examples. When you have Diwali sales, whether it's, big brands, smaller brands, suddenly the demand peaks. Now, you could really spin up virtual servers on the cloud to kind of expand. And then as the whole period goes away, you could shrink it back. And what it means is also that the SMB customers are not paying for all of this permanently. They are paying only for the period they are stretching and they're using, right? Sure. And I think the whole pay-as-you-go model and the whole expansion and shrinking pay-as-you-use or pay for what you use is what has helped our SMB customers as well to kind of leverage the best of technology to give that consistent level of customer experience irrespective of peak demand, off-peak demand, regular demand, right? We have done this for several of our logistics organizations where, we offer them this whole technology benefit of elastic so that the businesses flourish and they are able to give this consistent customer experience and hence you retain as well as enhance revenues.
Speaking of cloud, for the longest time, for years, SMBs have viewed the cloud as a storage place, as a cost-saving utility. But recent TTBS and CMR studies show that 50% of Indian SMEs are also now looking at cloud as a way to expand their businesses. I want to know, how do you see this transition, from cloud being viewed as an expense, and now to like a growth engine? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so very interesting, Ritvika. Initially when people looked at cloud, businesses, when they looked at cloud, they looked at, you move your basement to the cloud. The cloud has become now showroom floor. It literally helps organizations to expand, right? Expand their businesses, pretty much from the previous example that I said, right? Yeah. On expand their businesses as and when there is more demand and so on. Another benefit that comes in, that unlike the pre-cloud era, where typically whenever you are expanding, you need to buy more servers, right? You buy more capacities and you would invest CapEx. And CapEx cycles and deployment typically take, 3 months, 4 months.
Sure.
And the moment you move your business to the cloud, you can pretty much get the same thing done in days and OpEx. So it's not just a question of, are you saving money? Is it a better commercial model? But it's also agility. Yeah, it's also speed that comes in while moving your workloads to the cloud. Right. I want to give an example out here of one of our customers. He's in manufacturing, and they were maintaining all these servers in their manufacturing plant, one central location, and there were small kind of IT assets in other branches, sales offices, and all that. And the single point of failure actually was this one location. And typically, if you see, the factories are set up outskirts, right? Sometimes there are power issues. Sometimes there are multiple other issues that come up over there. And all the traffic, whether it's going out of that organization or internal traffic between various branches, everything actually is heading onto that one hub. It's like a hub and a spoke model.
Sure.
And that was leading to production delays, scheduling delays, information flows, inventory information going into the various other warehouses and all that. And we took all of that infrastructure in a managed services model onto the cloud. High availability, capex, opex, time to kind of expand and all that is quick. Access to locations which were outside of the main factory location was faster because there was a clearly breakthrough straight away to the internet on the applications which are hosted. And suddenly the organization was not spending time and energy maintaining downtimes, maintaining servers, maintaining all the friction within the organization, and they could focus essentially on their core business.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's the power of cloud, and essentially for SMBs, I think what it has done for even tier 2 and tier 3 SMBs to leverage the best of the cloud technology and compete with the giants within their industry as well. It's like a big leveler for SMBs as well as cloud technology.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13, powered by Tata Tele Business Services. In this segment, I'm in conversation with Vishal Rally, Chief Revenue Officer, Tata Tele Services, who brings a frontline view on how digital tools, connectivity and AI are helping India's SMEs protect revenue and scale smarter. So Vishal, while many businesses started off with basic chatbots, now we have entered the era of AI. Tell me, how is TTBS, working with SMBs, such that they can leverage AI, virtual workplaces, to really scale without a linear increase in headcount?
See, the field obviously of AI is evolving very, very fast, right? Gone are the days when, we looked at AI as digital answering machines. It's gone much, much, much beyond that.
Yeah.
It's actually led to now digital intelligence.
Right.
Also, when we initially looked at the use cases, largely the use cases were more like very rigid menu-driven bots, right? All of that has now evolved into generative AI, which understands the context, right? Now we are looking at arrival of agentic AI, not just the context, but the intent. And typically, agentic AI deployments can help those organizations to take business calls. And it's no longer just, answering some questions. It's also helping the customers in terms of meaningful conversations and finally giving a solution as well, right? So again, from SME context, AI, just like cloud, I think is a very, very big leveler. This is something that can help SME customers, irrespective of the size and shape, to kind of come up the curve and compete with the best out there. Now, at Tata Tele Business Services, our attempt is also how do we democratize AI for small businesses. Many times I hear this saying, but we are very small, we are a mid-size organization, AI is probably not meant for us. You don't need to really build your large language models or even small language models. You don't need billions of criterias and all that to look at, to look at all of those combinations to get the best possible answers. There are enough and more models available, again, OpenAI on the cloud, which can help you leverage the power of AI and to your business context. Understand your business context, work with a partner like Tata Tele Business Services, make your first move in your AI journey.
Right.
Yeah. And there are several such examples, right? And I'll probably quote two here, just because they are so diverse, right? So again, one of the organizations, manufacturing organizations and consumer goods, they were not able to kind of predict the demand, the correct demand, accordingly the correct production cycle. Sometimes too much of inventory, sometimes too less of inventory, the delivery delays and all that. We simply took all of that information onto the cloud on OpenAI and looked at the data of their customer interactions, looked at the sales data, looked at the trends and all that, and created an outcome for them which could predict to a very large extent in terms of when the demand will peak, which customers are expected to buy, especially the large orders that's coming in, which kind of simplified their entire, the production, demand management cycle and everything. It's a simple use case, but it just takes the business owner to take that first step. Yeah. Another example I would like to take is in the healthcare industry. Now, I mean, you and me know, right? I mean, anytime you're meeting, a healthcare professional, there's always that background information that comes in, right? Yeah. What happened to you 1 month back, 1 year back, 5 years back, 10 years back, all the test results, or, all the radiology results and so on. And, this one of our healthcare SMB businesses, they have multiple, small, not hospitals, small nursing homes. And they were spending far too much time in terms of looking at health records and understand the context. The nursing homes typically get customers from the catchment area, while big hospitals could get it from anywhere.
Right.
So they have a lot of repeat customers or repeat patients coming in. And again, of course, with the secured information, these are health records, patient health records and all that, with security and everything else, we kind of put the entire database and entire summary there. So when a patient is meeting a healthcare professional, all of that information is readily done, just a 1 minute glance, and the doctor knows everything. And all the other work intelligently is being put together, by AI.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just moving to security, security has always been looked at as an IT cost. Yeah. But, given the impact and also the average cost of a data breach, I mean, it is definitely also a revenue issue as well. Tell me, how are you helping, SMBs to view security as a business enabler and not as a burden?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest blind spot amongst SMBs. But the fact is, in India, just in 2025 alone, there have been like 1.5 million attacks. And the cyber attacks on SMBs have gone up by 60%. Yeah. So, it's a myth that they think we are too small for an attack. And, it's not just a question of when that cyber attack happens, then it's loss of business or loss of revenue for that many days or that instance. The trust that you have established with your customers for so many years, it just vanishes. Yeah. We work with our SMB customers to look at how do we build proactive resilience, right? Rather than reactively kind of address the issue. See, also, unlike large enterprises who have CISOs, right? Chief Information Security Officers. Yeah. SMBs don't have. At best, they have IT managers. While we at TTBS have recognized it, and we have built a suite of cybersecurity solutions like a platform, whether it's endpoint security, email security, perimeter security, VAPTs, SOC, all of that stuff that kind of helps the SME customers in terms of their size, right? What is relevant for them. And I'll give some couple of examples, I think, to put across that point. Yeah. For organizations which are, say, 50 people, 100 people organization, we have created a bundle itself. So it's a productivity applications, which is your email, office applications and all that, email security, endpoint security, in a very small per user, per license kind of a model. So at least your basic level of security is all covered. Similarly, for an organization which is slightly above that, saying medium-sized organization, there is this kind of IT services company, and they have these customers who are mostly abroad. Right? And they have this strict parameters of saying, we want you to follow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we start with a consulting. It's like a virtual CISO kind of an assignment with them. So you don't need to hire, but our specialists kind of work with you, get your security posture in place, and again, work on both the aspects, the VAPT as well as SOC. Now I'll explain a little bit on VAPT. It's almost equivalent to your preventive health checkups, right? People say, after a certain age, you should go, every year or once in 2 years. Yeah. So VAPT is pretty much that, right? So it is checking your vulnerability. So vulnerability assessment. SOC, essentially, managed SOC is your in real time as and when things happen. Because one has to understand the security, just like AI, cybersecurity, the entire, the hackers are getting more and more tech savvy.
Yeah.
Whatever you might do on the VAPT side, but you need online, on time, 0-day, how to kind of take care of those attacks in real time. So both these aspects is what we implemented for this IT services firm. So kind of we protected them, and they could put together a security posture in front of their customers to say, we are good. Yeah.
Right. And finally, Vishal, as we are wrapping up this wonderful conversation, now India aims to be a $7 trillion economy by 2030, and MSMEs are at the backbone of that goal. Tell me, what is your message to all the entrepreneurs, to all the SME leaders watching the show today, in terms of how they can, not just survive, but lead in this new digital era?
Yeah, see, whether it's 7 trillion or 10 trillion, right, it's going to happen, right? We are blessed to be in India at this time, frankly. The contribution of SMBs to India GDP currently is around 30%. Most of the developed economies anywhere, when you take Japan or you take Europe or US, the contribution about 50 to 55%. For India to achieve its aspiration of, whether it's doubling it or tripling it or, going all the way to $30 trillion eventually, can't happen if we can't scale up SMBs.
Right.
Yeah. And I think for SMBs to scale up, technology is going to be that key lever. My advice or conversation with all SMB business owners is understand your business context, look at your plans for next 3-5 years, work with a technology partner like Tata Tele Business Services, make that partner understand your business context, and then the partner can actually help you make your technology roadmap, which runs in parallel to your business roadmap. It has to work because technology is the one thing which is going to help you achieve, your business outcomes and goals. So I would say any SMB business who can dream big, Tata Tele can help you do big.
Absolutely. Well, lots to take away from this conversation. This was absolutely insightful. Thank you so much, Vishal, for your time today.
Thank you, Ritvika.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13, powered by Tata Tele Business Services. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.